Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be looking at the Destiny Aurora items that have been sent to me. I'll be unboxing the minis as well as doing sort of a flip through of the hardcover book and give my thoughts on that. This is something that is going to be launched on Kickstarter in the near future, and I just want to make it known that some of these things might be subject to some slight changes as time goes on. For example, the book itself is what's referred to as a printer proof. And there are things that are going to be probably added or changed around when it comes time for the actual final version to be released after the Kickstarter. So just keep that in mind. Again, some things are subject to change, but we're still going to have a look at these things, and I'm really excited to open up some of this stuff here. We're going to start with the minis, and then we're going to go and look at the book. So we're going to take a look at the minis here now. There are 4 packs in total sent for the purposes of this video. We have the Renegades Leader Expansion Pack, and then we have the Destiny Aurora Renegades Creature Expansions 1, 2, and 3. So we're just going to go ahead and take a look at the, we'll start with the Leader Expansion Pack. And you can see the unpainted minis through the clear window. On the back we just have the actual artwork as to what these NPCs, what they look like, and you can use this as sort of an aid if you want to paint them as they appear here. On the back it just says, the Leader Expansion, or Leader Pack Expansion. These commanders rule with iron fists over their warriors, who would gladly lay down their lives for them. The Prince and Princess of Visareth have powers that make them formidable in the field. So we have Sol and Frey, ASP4, Darius, Prince Elip, and Princess Zaylana, it looks like. So let's go ahead and actually take a look at the minis themselves. They were sealed with sticker seal. I cut the seals right before I started recording this part. But I haven't actually taken these guys out yet. One thing I do appreciate as a collector and someone who's probably going to display these is the fact that the package can be easily just, redone up, and they display very, very nicely. So let's start with, we'll start with ASP4, which is the android on the top here. And again, very, cool looking figure. So we got him, and then this would be Prince Elip, so holding the fire there. Yeah, just very cool looking sculpt. Then we have Sol and Frey. Then we'll do Darius next. He's got like the visor over his eyes, which is actually kind of good for me because I'm really bad at painting eyes. So when I do feel that my paint skills are up to the task of painting these things, I don't have to worry about trying to do his eyes. And then we have Princess Zaylana. And it's very nice detail in all of these minis. So I'm just going to close this back up. Whoop. Poor Darius got caught up in the packaging. Alright, now let's take a look at Creature Expansion 1. This one actually has probably one of my favorite, creatures of all the ones that are in these packs. So we're just going to get right to it. Oh, actually, let's take a look at the back here. So we have the Cyber Assassin, the Trigorgon, and the Iron Dragon. So we'll start with the Cyber Assassin. Or, sorry, not Cyber Assassin. The Siren Assassin. and it's really, really cool looking. Nice little bits of detail. Let me get it to focus on like the knees, and it's really nice stuff there. Then we have the Trigorgon. I love this guy as well. The three-headed monstrosity. And very nice looking mini. And then, like I said, one of my favorites of all the sets here, the Iron Dragon. And I actually, one of the things that I really like about this one in particular is that the Starfinder beginner box actually had a robotic dragon that the characters fight. And now, if I go to run that adventure, I can use the Iron Dragon as a mini, like an actual three-dimensional mini for that. And just again, really awesome looking. Love the dragon. Like I said, probably one of my overall favorites. So that was Creature Expansion 1. Alright, Creature Expansion 2, we have 4 minis included in this one. And they include the Fen Griffin, the Lava Gonic, the Crescent Beast, and the Cyber Sentinel. So let's start with the Lava Gonic. Just get it to focus on it there. So again, just very nice sculpted detail in here. Really cool looking creature. And of course you got like the artwork for them. Just really awesome stuff here. Love that guy. And then we've got the Cyber Sentinel. Again, just a very cool looking robotic creature. I actually like the legs there. Then we've got the Crescent Beast. And this guy looks pretty intimidating as well. Oh, it's just a little piece of the foam, the foam peanuts that this was packed in. So. Again, just very nice detail on these. I really like the sculpts. And then we have the Fen Griffin. And I think this guy would be really fun to paint. Again, it's just sort of like the wolf head, the griffin's body. So instead of it being like a hawk and like the combination of a hawk and a wing and a horse, you got like this wolf hawk sort of combination. Really cool looking. Love that. Oh. And then we have the Creature Expansion 3, and this one has some awesome looking stuff in there. 3 minis in this one as well. We have the Shark Leviathan, Fire Angel, and the Arachno Demon, which is probably it's actually really kind of a toss-up between the Shark Leviathan and Arachno Demon as my favorite one from this set, but all 3 of these just look really awesome. So let's get these out and have a closer look. We'll start with the Fire Angel. Try to keep it in focus here. So again, just some really nice detail in there as well. It even has like sort of the way that they have it sculpted with the fire details. It looks like it'd be very easy to dry brush, like the brighter yellows onto it. So I have like the red base and then just have the yellow highlights, and actually it's sculpted in such a way that that should be relatively easy to dry brush on, which is something that I really do appreciate. And then let's take a look at the Shark Leviathan. This guy's actually got sort of a hollow base there, but he does stand up pretty good and appears to be quite stable actually. This guy is pretty awesome looking, I have to say. It's almost like a very Lovecraftian type of creature, but just so cool looking. You got like the scaly fishy body, then you have like the clawed hands, the squid-like or octopus-like tentacles, squid-like tentacles, and then even the little wings there. Just an awesome looking figure. So really love that. And then we have the Arachno Demon. Another nice thing about the trays and the packaging is that they come out and go back in very easily. There's a lot of other minis in packaging similar to this that I've had in the past, where it's very difficult to get some of these things out to the point where I almost worry that I'm going to break them. And with this packaging, it's very simple to get these things in and out, which I really do appreciate. The Arachno Demon just looks super awesome. Again, some really nice little details thrown in there as well. You see it's got things covering its eyes, like I guess they'd be like sensors or augmentations, since the Arachno Demon is a type of construct. And I don't know how well it's going to show up here, but even underneath of the mini is again some really nice detail. The spot where, since this is on a base, some people may not focus too much on the lower body details, but they actually did a really good job. Again, just very nice looking stuff. So the minis that in these sets are all really nice. And really creative creatures as well. Like, just really love the designs of things like the Fen Griffin, the Arachno Demon, the Iron Dragon, the Leviathan. Whoops. Again, they just did a really fantastic job designing these creatures. They all look just really awesome. So if you wanted to check that out again, like I said, the minis are incredible. I absolutely love these things. So they did a fantastic job with these, and again, just really nice packaging overall for these as well. So awesome stuff. So here we have the Destiny Aurora book. Again, this is fully compatible with the Starfinder rule set. As I mentioned in the intro, this is something that there are going to be some changes made between now and the final product. So just keep that in mind. This is a proof for the Kickstarter. I guess you could say this is almost like a prototype, but it's still a very good prototype. So looking through, we have our table of contents, which has our history of conflict, Earth operations with some information there, the Coalition, Dregs, and Renegades, which are the three main factions, and then we have our new races that have been added, the reputation system, which is something I'll talk about in a little bit. We have some creatures, vehicles and gear, starships, and then we've got some scenarios. So just sort of flip through here, and again, this book is very nicely laid out. I love the artwork in here, as well as just, again, the way that it's just designed looks very well done. Because it gives you some interesting information on Earth, as well as our main factions here. So we have the Coalition, which is sort of your, I guess your lawful organization. Then you have the Dregs, which are sort of the antithesis of the lawful organization. So they are the they are in direct conflict with the Coalition, and again they're very sort of chaotic, I guess, is their nature. And then you actually have the Renegades. And the Renegades are sort of a neutral faction. They work with both, but aren't necessarily loyal to either. So it is possible, for example, to be on the good side of, say, the Renegades and the Coalition, but if you're on the good side of the Coalition, then you're on the bad side of the Dregs. And these organizations, I think, can be easily dropped into any Starfinder game, which I think is a great thing about it. It also gives you some information on some of their key locations, like one of their main planets that they may be associated with. So some great information in here as well. With the Starship roles and offices, we have new things that are added. So we have a communications officer, which is able to act during the Starship phase. And then you also have the medic, which is something that its role on the ship, but it's not necessarily something that comes into play during ship combat. So they would typically have another role within that type of encounter. So the medic would have some other role to play during ship combat, but the comms officer, again, has got some pretty cool stuff here. We'll actually just go back to them for a second. So they can open up the communications and try to communicate with another ship. They can also try to force a communication through, which is pretty cool. They can send distress signals, they can hail, and do like sensor sweeps. So there's some really interesting stuff that they gave the communications officer that I actually really like, and I think it's something that, again, would probably be added to any and all of my Starfinder games going forward, especially if you have two people that sort of overlap in their abilities. If you have two people that might be really good at pilot, for example, I might move one of them to the comms station instead. So, and then we've got our races. So we have the android. All of the races include a nice physical description as well as their abilities, as well as information on homeworld. So this actually gives you quite a bit of decent information for each of the races themselves, which is really, again, nicely fleshed out. We have the Borlins next, which are kind of like a combination of human, and they got sort of like almost like bull horns. You got the tail there. Again, it gives you information on their homeworld. Again, really, really nice artwork in this book. Just absolutely beautiful art. This section here, these blank section, a lot of the races have this in the book. And from what I understand, this is stuff that's going to be filled in at a later date. It just wasn't something available at the time that it was sent for the printer proof. So again, there will be new information here. The Kaltorans. I actually kind of like these guys. Apparently you don't want to refer to them as a dwarf, because other races probably take pains to never call them a dwarf. So just... But they look very dwarfish with like the tusks. Again, cool design, and I could see that being sort of interesting if you have one of these individuals in the party playing alongside of like an actual dwarf. Again, a section there which will be filled in at a later time. So if you see that, it's not going to look like that when the final product is released. This is probably one of my favorite races here altogether, and this is the Drakkar. Or Drakkarian. This sort of almost looks like an undead type creature. Just really, really awesome design. I love like the tusks coming out like the side of the face, and so that's probably my favorite race altogether in this new book. And of course, you have to have humans, since Earth is one of the planets available. The Icarians. I actually like their design too as well. And then this reminds me of like the creature from the lagoon. Another race that I actually really, really like. Just really cool design again. And there's actually, I believe, these are the Lamberdarians, and I hope I'm pronouncing these right. So calling them a fish or a gilman is tantamount to taunting humans as being hairless apes, or saying "here kitty kitty" to one of the feline-like races. So again, just nice little touches like that in here. These are obviously an aquatic creature, have a natural swim speed. Just again, cool stuff. Again, beautiful artwork in there. And then we got one of the feline races here. So the Visarths, they actually look almost exactly like, I guess, yeah, they are Earthers. Oh no, Earthers, they're not Earthers. They would have called them angels, I guess. They're, I guess, the embodiment of perfection, with plus to charisma and everything else, so, again, interesting. I like the, again, just really nice artwork all throughout here. And then we have the Zerathi, which is the lion humanoid. Fearless, retractable claws, scent. And they do give the males like the mane sort of look, and the females don't quite have that. And then we get into what is honestly my favorite section of this entire book, and something that I will be absolutely 100% implementing in any and every Starfinder game that I run from this point forward. I just absolutely, so this is the reputation system. So the reputation system is essentially the actions of the crew and some of the things that you do aboard your ship. You have this, you build this legend, I guess, around you. The easiest way I think I could equate it is if you look at something like, say, Star Trek. Whenever the Enterprise was the ship coming to the rescue or something, it always felt like a big deal. Similar to, like, in Deep Space Nine, you know, if you have the Defiant appear, it felt like a big deal versus other ships that just kind of show up and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of neat. So reputation is something that you can either gain positive or negative modifiers to, depending on the actions that you take. There's also, what I think is really cool about this as well, is you have modifiers that are different depending on the three major factions. So, for example, you have the Coalition crew reputation modifiers. So you have things that could be benefits, or you have things that can severely diminish your reputation. And if your reputation gets too low, then, you know, the faction might become hostile towards you, or even like place bounties on you and try to bring you in. And then we have the same thing for the Dregs, as well as the Renegades. So, you know, it gives you what the information is, based off of if it's in positive or negatives for each of the different factions. It does require a little bit of bookkeeping, but at the same time, it's something that, you know, the game master can make notes of and, you know, work on sort of in between games. But again, I absolutely love it. So, for example, if your positive reputation score is between 0 and 10, we'll just bring this up a little bit here. So if between 0 and 10, the ship and crew are unknown or ignored for other reasons within their chosen faction. So there are no benefits at this level. If you have a score of 11 through 30, you are considered to be recognized. At this level, the exploits of the crew have begun making the rounds within their faction. The crew gains a +1 modifier to charisma-based skill checks at this level, within their own faction. Goods with an item level lower than the average party level are discounted 10%. Additionally, once per week, a service rendered by a faction ally may be discounted to 25%. So again, a very tangible benefit. We'll skip over a few of them here, but we have, let's just go the 71 through 79. So you have Famous. At this level, the crew become common knowledge in all factions. The crew gains +4 modifier to charisma-based skill checks at this level. Within their own faction, goods with an item level lower than average party level are discounted 25%. Additionally, once per starship combat, one crew member may spend a resolve point and be considered to be occupying a different station, allowing them to take actions as if they were instead occupying that station. So at the end of their turn, they may revert, so they can choose if they were, for example, in the gunner seat, but you need someone doing like sciences, or you need someone doing engineering or something like that, then you could have them do that for one round. I think that's actually pretty cool. So again, there's some really, really cool stuff there. And then you have negative reputation modifiers. So we'll start with, if you're at -1 through -30, you're considered a known deviant. At this level, the major mistakes of the crew have begun making the rounds within their faction, but they have not yet been outcast. The crew suffers a -2 modifier to charisma-based skill checks within their faction at this level. Within their own faction, goods with an item level lower than average party level cost 10% more. So it can be bad within your own faction if you start getting really, really bad modifiers. And then, of course, 71 through 79 is... Well, sorry, -31 through -50, you get wanted alive. At -51 through -70, you're wanted dead or alive. At -71 through -90, you're considered wanted dead. And then at -91 or worse, you're considered a legendary traitor. So again, pretty powerful stuff there. So it can be really, really bad. Another awesome effect, actually, of reputation is that you can use it as sort of, I don't want to say a currency, because I think that's the wrong term, but you can spend some of your reputation in order to call in certain favors. So, for example, a standard favor you might call in, you'd have to make probably a charisma check with a DC of 15, or diplomacy check. And you spend 10 reputation cost, but you can give someone to render a service that they may normally provide, even if they may not normally provide it to necessarily your faction. Average is 20 DC, 20 cost, so you spend 20 reputation points to get someone to perform a service that they only sometimes perform. Then you have difficult, which is an unusual service that is inconvenient. Challenging is a service that stretches their limits, and near impossible, so it's a 40 DC on diplomacy and a cost of 50 reputation points to try to get someone to do something that they would normally never do. So again, just interesting. And then you've got the modifiers to that as well. So if you're the same faction, for example, it's 1 step less difficult. You offer to pay half the normal, it becomes 1 step less difficult. You offer to pay the full normal cost, it becomes 2 steps less difficult. And then different things that you can do here. They can also become more difficult if it could damage the person rendering the services, it could damage their reputation, cause them to risk their lives, or if they're a different faction from the one that you're currently working with. So, but again, I just absolutely love this section of the book, and it can also have an effect on ship battles as an optional rule. So it may give them like a free action that they can take because maybe the enemy is a little bit hesitant to go up against the ship with the reputation that it has. So again, just really, really awesome stuff. This is hands down, I think this is an awesome book, but this is hands down my favorite part. And like I said, this is something that I will absolutely be putting into all of my Starfinder games from this point forward. And then we have a section on NPCs. So these are NPCs from the expanded universe, I guess you could say, for the Destiny Aurora setting. I know that there's going to be like comics and novels that are going to be part of the Kickstarter as well. So these are some of the characters that you would have there. So you have, for example, Jace Carver, who is a, let's see here, Lieutenant Inspector Jace Carver is a former director of the Secret Service who lost his wife to an assassin, along with his right arm. Since then, he was fired from the Secret Service and he joined the Coalition commanding the Destiny Aurora. He and his crew continue to search for the assassin. The assassin's name is Cunlorn Thorn. In an effort to bring him to justice. Jace is driven, some might say insanely so, though only the most foolish would do so to his face, with the possible exception of his engineer Rolf. His extended hunt for Cunlor has eroded at his morals, so he is currently chaotic good, so I think he was probably, from the sounds of it, he was probably lawful good before. And it just gives, again, really great information, as well as the stat block for them, and again, just really wonderful artwork that we have here. This is probably my favorite character. So this is Rovana Zor, lawful neutral, and she is a half human, half Krasorian. So and I think there was actually, I hate to keep bringing up Star Trek, but I think there was an episode of Star Trek or something where you had a race that was half something else, and it was done down the middle. It might not be, I may be thinking of something else, but I've always kind of liked that whole, like, when they say half this and half that, like it's done in a more literal context. So I just think that that's really cool. I love the artwork on her. Excellent job there. Just such a cool looking character in my opinion. Then we have Flibias. Flibby and then Yas being two separate words. I said that probably a little bit too close together. And then we got Rolf there, the engineer. I love that he's smoking a cigar. And then X473, Sol and Frey. And then Princess Zaylana, and you may recognize some of these individuals from the leader pack expansion that I'd shown earlier. So some of these guys were in there as well. Yeah, Jonathan Shore, Prince Ulip, who's lawful evil, and I mean he certainly looks lawful evil. Darius Graves. So it would be interesting actually to see these characters a bit more fleshed out through the medium of like the comics and the novels and everything else. So again, look for that information on the Kickstarter once it launches. Then we got our creatures with the super awesome Arachno Demon. And then I'm not quite sure, but I feel like this is probably placeholder art. It's nice. It's very nice. I'm not sure it fits into that particular section though, so again, that may be just something that was put in for the purposes of just having something on the page, I guess. Cyber Sentinel, which again, really cool. The Fen Griffin. I actually like pretty much all the creatures here. Unless that may be the Arachno Demon ship. And then we got the Fire Angel. The Lava Gonic. And then, of course, the Iron Dragon, one of my favorite monsters from the creature expansion packs. CR12. And we got her again. I just love that design. And then we get into our vehicles and gear. So we've got like choppers, attack carrier vehicles, new equipment as well. Personal cloaking device. I actually think that's pretty cool. The holographic emitter. Personal shield projector. Actually, I like that one quite a bit too. It's sort of like it reminds me of the bubble shield from Halo. Self-contained jetpack. Anytime you're getting a jetpack in any sort of game, it's just awesome. And then we got some new weapons. Or maybe not new weapons, but we have weapons here. Actually, no, I think these are new. I know that I've seen arc pistols before, but I don't know about arc pistol static. And again, some nice, beautiful artwork for that as well. Weapon fusions. Other equipment. And then you got like a crystal that, by expending one charge and placing the crystal on a living creature, you can restore number. Oh, sorry. By expending one charge and placing the crystal on the ground, the owner can summon a Syrian assassin. It takes 1 round for the assassin to manifest and disappears automatically after 8 rounds. So that's pretty cool. And then we get into our starships. So we got to start with the coalition ships. Again, just really nice designs on them. Dreg starships. Again, just cool looking stuff there. And then the Renegade. And again, this section will be filled in when the actual final product is released. And then we go into our scenario. So I don't really want to spoil these too much, but this does come with 2 little adventures that you can run in here. The first one is for a group of 4 to 6 4th level characters, and I believe the second adventure is designed for a group of 10th level characters. The one thing I will say is it would have been kind of nice to have started with a first level scenario, just to maybe have a bit of an easier way to introduce people to the setting. But again, these are things that can absolutely change. And that said, the Prison Break scenario I still think is pretty good to begin with. So even though it's for 4th level characters, I still think it's an absolutely great adventure. So like I said, I don't want to spoil too much, so we're just going to kind of go through it. And then we've got the Lost and Found, which is the one for 10th level characters. And then we just have our open gaming license information in the back, as well as a starter ship. Yeah, we just have a starter ship to use if you're going to be running information with this book here. So that was just sort of my flip through on the Destiny Aurora book, and I think it's really, really well done. I'm really impressed with a lot of the stuff that's in there. I'd have no problem introducing any of the races. If I wasn't planning on running the actual setting, I still have no problem introducing the races in this book into any of my ongoing Starfinder games. But I honestly, I kind of want to run something in this world. It's just really cool to have, you know, again, the stronger emphasis, I guess, on the factions and the direct conflict between those factions. Not that it doesn't exist in things like Starfinder, but it's sort of one of the more central focuses here, and I actually really, really like that about this product. But again, it's something that could also easily be reskinned to fit seamlessly, I'd say, into any Starfinder game that you run. And the ship reputation is something, like I said, I'm absolutely going to be implementing 100% into any and all future Starfinder games that I plan on running, because I love that system so much. And just looking at it, it feels like it's something that should have been in the actual core rulebook, and it's just a really, really well thought out system. So overall, when it comes to the Destiny Aurora stuff, all I can keep saying is I'm just really, really impressed with how wonderfully done these things are. Just how beautiful the art is, how nice like the packaging is for the minis, how nice the minis themselves are. I just think that they've done a really, really good job. And again, keeping in mind, these are just proofs to be used to promote the Kickstarter when it launches. So, you know, there's still room for this stuff to grow. We'll see stuff added to the book to fill in those blank spots as well. So really, really looking forward to it. When the actual Kickstarter launches, I will let you guys know that as well. And I really hope that you check it out, because, again, this seems like really, really fantastic stuff. And an awesome addition to my Starfinder collection. I just want to take a moment to thank Frank Zanka for sending this stuff to me, and I really, really appreciate it. And hopefully this video can at least help raise awareness of this awesome world and the really hard work that that Frank and his group have done to put together such a wonderful set of products. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Take care.